What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be week 18 of my NFL power rankings. This will be the last week before the playoffs, and everything's kind of already set in stone, but things can still shake around, so we'll see what happens in week 18. But before that, we'll hop right into this. And starting off with number 10, I have the Buffalo Bills. They're dropping a little bit. They were at 8 last week, and they lost to the Eagles this week. And it was a really close game. They didn't really do much in the first 3 quarters, but the Eagles didn't do a ton either, so they were still able to come back, make it a game. They ended up going for 2 to go for the kill, and instead of getting the kill, they themselves got killed. But I still think the Bills are a good team. It was definitely a bit concerning to see their offense in that game, but their defense played great. So that's why I'm still leaving them on here. I could have taken them off, but I still think they're a really damn good team. So for that reason, they get to stay on at number 10. All right, and at number 9, we have the team that beat the Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles. They're making their first appearance on the power rankings in quite some time because I took them off since they lost, I think it was 2 in a row at the time. Or hell, maybe it was 3 in a row, I don't even know. But yeah, they're coming back, and it was definitely, it's kind of the same thing I said about the Bills, except they actually won the game. Their offense honestly looked pretty terrible. Their defense, though, they came in clutch. Well, not really. They got kind of lucky, but for the most part, they held Josh Allen in check, and that's no small accomplishment. And they're starting to heat up a little bit before the playoffs because they had a good win last week. And we'll see how they keep playing. We'll see if they can beat the Commanders again like they did in week 16. And they're heating up at the right time, and I got them back on here at number 9. All right, and at number 8, I have the Houston Texans. I had them at number 10 last week after a not so great victory against the Las Vegas Raiders. Then they followed it up with a pretty good victory against the Los Angeles Chargers. Their offense definitely was a bit concerning because they started off 14-zip. They were up 14-zip, and then they kind of just hung on. They didn't really dominate. But, a win's a win, and the Chargers are a good team. And, I have to bump them up a decent amount after beating a team like the Chargers, who might be a team that no one wants to play if Justin Herbert can actually be a decent player in the playoffs. But, yeah, I have them at number 8. They're still in contention to win the AFC South if things fall their way. So we'll see what happens. All right, and at number 7, I have the Chicago Bears. They were at number 6 last week, and they ended up losing to the 49ers last week on Sunday Night Football. And that game was an offensive explosion. It was one of the best games of the NFL season, and the Bears just couldn't score enough points. Their defense really let them down. I mean, to be fair, the 49ers offense is pretty good, but yeah, that Bears defense did not look particularly good. They couldn't stop a nosebleed, and it ended up being the reason why they lost that game. And I think they'll be fine because there's some weird statistic where when the Bears are at home, their defense plays significantly better. And I think they will at the very least be the 3 seed. 2 seed, I think they're the 2 seed if they win next week, 3 seed if they lose and some other shit happens. But yeah, I think the Bears will be fine. I think it was just an off game, and their offense is still really good, so that's why I'm not dropping them too much. All right, and at number 6, I have the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are not looking particularly good right now. They've lost 2 in a row, including 1 to the Seahawks, which was the week before this one. That one is definitely more understandable because the Seahawks are a good team, and they're on the road. And then they lost to the Falcons on Monday, and yeah, they were on the road again, but it's the Falcons. Falcons are way out of the playoffs. They've been out of the playoffs for weeks now. You can't lose that game. And I think the Rams kind of just saw that they mathematically were not able to win their division after the 49ers beat the Bears on Sunday Night Football. But yeah, you still got to try. I mean, Stafford just didn't play good. He played very poorly. I think he had 3 interceptions. it just wasn't the best showing for the Rams, and it's definitely not what you want right before the playoffs start, because regardless of what happens, they're going to have to go on the road, because I think they're either going to be the 5 or the 6 seed. One of those two. If they win, I think if they win and the 49ers lose, they'll be the 5 seed, but if other result, they'll be the 6 seed. So yeah. All right, and at number 5, I have the Denver Broncos. They were at 5 last week after losing their first game in over 2 months to the Jags, and they followed that up by barely beating the Chris Oludacum-led Kansas City Chiefs. And it's a bit concerning. I think our offense would look okay in that game. I think our defense just needs some rest because they just are exhausted. I can tell just by watching them. And hopefully we can win next week against the Chargers backup quarterback Trey Lance. And hopefully we can get that 1 seed, because I think that's the only way we're going to win the Super Bowls. If we can get that 1 seed, it's very important. But you know what? I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. You know, you never want to lose. You always want to win if you can do that, other than losing, obviously. And they're sitting at number 5. I can't really move them up, but I'm not going to move them down either, because they still did win the game. So I will give them their flowers for that. All right, and at number 4, I have the San Francisco 49ers. And I might be moving them up a lot, but here's the thing. They were at 7 last week, and the teams in front of them, they either lost or didn't have the greatest victories. And, for example, the Rams lost to the Falcons, so I'm not going to put them over the 49ers. And then the Broncos, they won, but they kind of looked like shit in the process, so I'm not going to put them over the 49ers either. So, by the state of the way this goes, you know, they won, and I personally think they looked really good when they won, at least their offense. Their defense, we won't talk about that. But, I mean, they've looked really well. They've looked really good the past couple of weeks, and they're getting hot at the right time. They have an opportunity to get the 1 seed. If they can beat the Seahawks on Saturday, they're the 1 seed. It's going to be a battle between them two. Whoever wins gets the 1 seed. We'll see who can do that. And honestly, the only reason I don't have the 49ers higher is just because of how injured their defense is, which is completely out of their control. So, yeah, hopefully their defense can try to get healthier. I heard that Fred Warner might come back in time for the playoffs, so we'll see if that happens. If that does happen, that's going to be huge for the 49ers. But for right now, I have them sitting at number 4. All right, and at number 3, I have the New England Patriots. I had them at 4 last week after barely beating the Ravens. But this week, it was different. They absolutely killed the New York Jets, and it's the Jets, but, you know, it's always good to have a dominant victory, especially against your division rival. And it's better than almost losing to them. I wish my team could do that, but yeah, I got them at number 3, and they're still a really good team. They could get the 1 seed if the Broncos choke in Week 18 and the Patriots end up winning. So we'll see if that happens. For right now, I have them at number 3, and they're playing great right now, and we'll see how they do when it comes playoff time. All right, and at number 2, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they were at 1 last week, and they won, but, you know, I can't put them at 1 because the team in front of them just had a way more dominant victory against, in my opinion, a better team. And granted, it's not that much better of a team, but it's still, in my opinion, a better team and a better victory, so just because of that, I have the Jags down at 2. But you know what? They still won the game, and it's just one of those rare situations where winning the game, it's where you won it, but you didn't win it by as many points as you would have liked to, but you still won, and you can obviously be happy about that. Trevor Lawrence did throw his first pick in a while, though, so we'll see if that spirals into something, you know, worse. But I personally think the Jags will be fine. And I think they're going to be a really tough team come playoff time. And if they can win against the Titans in Week 18, they're division champs. And I think they will do just that. And we'll see if they can do that in the playoff power rankings next week. And finally, at number 1, you probably know who it is. You already know who it is. It's the Seattle Seahawks. I had them at 2 last week after having that crazy victory against the Rams on Thursday Night Football. Then they followed it up by absolutely blowing out the Carolina Panthers. And the Panthers, they're a weird team because sometimes they'll be really good and then other times they'll be really bad. It's kind of a flip-flop thing. But you know what? The Seahawks, they dominated them. I mean, the game was really never in question. I mean, maybe for a little bit in like the first quarter, but after that, they just went full force and they took care of a team they should have beaten. And they made Bryce Young really uncomfortable. I don't even think they let him have over like 50-something passing yards. That defense looks amazing. My only mild concern that I have with the Seahawks is their offense hasn't looked as good these last couple of weeks, which, I mean, exclude the Rams game from that because that is obviously an exception. But I think that offense definitely could be better, but I'm not that concerned about it. We'll just have to see if Sam Darnold can actually perform in the playoffs when the Seahawks inevitably are there in the playoffs. And I can't wait to see that. And yeah, that's Power Rankings. And there you have it. Here's the list of the teams and the corresponding order that they are in for the Power Rankings. And yeah, as always, there's teams that I feel should be on here that just aren't because they just, don't fit the criteria, I guess. I was thinking maybe I add the Ravens on here just because of how dominant of a victory they had against the Packers with a backup quarterback nonetheless. There's even some teams that are eliminated from the playoffs that you could even consider to put on here just because of how well they've been playing. But obviously I'm not going to do that because, you're not going to be a top 10 team if you're not even going to be in the playoffs. So there's no reason for that. And yeah, I'll catch you guys for my predictions. That video will be out at some point tomorrow, and that'll be the last one we do before the playoffs start. And I'll say this now, for the playoff power rankings, I'm gonna do every team. I'm not gonna just do only 10 teams because I feel like that'd be a little cruel to leave teams that are in the playoffs not in the power rankings. So I'm just gonna rank them all. So it'll only be 4 more teams. And yeah, I realize this video might be a little choppy, so if it's not the best video, I apologize. But when you don't do it next week, when you didn't do it last week, because I didn't actually talk and do this last week for the power rankings, that'll happen. But I'll try to be better. Hopefully tomorrow's video, hopefully we can get some predictions correct and hopefully a good week of football. And if you watch through this video, I appreciate you for watching through it. And I will see y'all tomorrow for my week 18 predictions. Peace out.